What's up? I'm Nick, aka Sporp, and here's 3 things I wish I knew before I kickstarted my board game. Let's get into it. So, first thing is make sure your thing is done by the time you kickstart, or will be done by the time you finish kickstarting. Now, why is that? Taxes. Wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous taxes. This is my board game. It's the last year of Carbon. Will be available for purchase soon, but we're holding off opening the web store until A, we get the game, and B, we deliver out the game to all of our immediate Kickstarter customers first. Our game ended up kickstarting at this magic number, $15,000. Now, the money that we actually received is $13,750, meaning that Kickstarter took about an 8%-ish cut of the money that we made on their site. Now, granted, Kickstarter did enable us to get a much larger customer base by A, being a trusted site where people can submit their money to purchase the game, and B, bringing in more users by essentially putting us on their site, by enabling their algorithm, like letting us use their algorithm essentially to push customers to purchase our game. So for that reason, I can essentially consider it around a little bit over $1,000 of advertising costs, which is actually about what we paid outside of Kickstarter to advertise on Facebook, on Instagram, to get the word out there about the game, to drive users to purchase it. However, the money we got was received in 2021. We were still working on the game when we finished our Kickstarter, when we finished kickstarting, so we got the money in 2021, and then we finally purchased our units in 2022. Meaning, after expenses, we had about $9,000 worth of profit. Now, it's profit, quote unquote, but in reality, it's money that was all going to be used to purchase the game, which the final bill from our manufacturing company was a little over 15 grand. So we're already losing money through advertising and through Kickstarter's cut. We then lost even more money due to taxes. The business that I am running with the assistance of my 2 other friends, 110 Points, is an LLC, and LLCs are pass-through entities, meaning that any profits or losses gained or lost from the year through your business get divided equally among the partners involved in the LLC, and the profits and losses are then reported on our individual incomes. So each of us had about $3,000 to report in terms of profits on all of our individual incomes. So we all had to pay taxes on that $3,000 of income, which is more money that was then lost that we couldn't put towards the game purchase, which means more money had to come out of our own personal pockets to buy the game. If we purchased the game in 2021, we wouldn't have to pay that extra amount of money in taxes, because taxes happen on your profits. Now, your profits are the money that your business takes in minus the money that your business spends. If your business spends more than it takes in, then that's considered your business lost money. That's losses, you don't pay any taxes. If your business makes more money than it loses, then you've made a profit. IRS and your state want a cut of the pie. So, I suggest either A, by the time you kickstart, make sure you can purchase your product before the end of the year. So ideally, you should kickstart in the beginning of the year if your project is not complete. I suggest kickstarting in January, or even better, kickstart in like mid-December with a due date that ends at the start of January, so you have a maximum amount of time to purchase your product. We kickstarted, I think, in April, so that was already a third of the year that is just lost time that we can't use to finish a game. We wanted it out the door as quickly as possible, so that is the price that we have to pay. So that's number 1. Number 2 is don't be afraid to make a profit. There is a lot of hidden costs, and dealing in business is sort of a death by 1,000 cuts. So make sure you price your product in a way that is sensible so that you don't have to lose money on your Kickstarter project like we are currently. It's important that, it's all well and good that you love your product and you're willing to sacrifice, arms and limbs in order to get this thing out the door. But you will have to suffer, and make sure that you price your product effectively so you don't suffer too bad when it comes time to pay the piper. Now, thankfully, we placed this product at a per unit cost at about double-ish of what it costs to produce, which is kind of bog standard if you don't really know what you're going with, but there's a lot of expenses that are hidden away that you don't take into account, because it's more than just purchasing the product. It's delivering the product to your storage facility, it's paying for the storage facility, it's paying for the boxes that your product is going to ship in if it's a physical product, paying for packing peanuts, paying for shipping itself, paying for any regulatory BS. Like, in order to get this thing shipped in the EU, we're going to have to pay to verify that it is certified to sell in the EU, and the certification process is already costing us more than the money we're making by selling to people in the EU. So number 2 on the nuggets of wisdom, nugget 1 is, purchase your product in the same year that you complete your Kickstarter and you get your Kickstarter money. Number 2 is start small in every conceivable way. If I could do this again, I would not sell in the EU. We are losing money by certifying this game to be sold in the EU. Another thing is, I sort of wish that it was only myself doing this, or myself and one other person. Once you get into 3-person LLCs, the late fees for filing taxes, and I'd probably say that nugget number 3, pay your taxes on time. The due date is March 15th to pay your taxes. If it was just myself and another partner, the late fees would be way less. But late fees for a multi-member LLC for 3 partners, the late fees are charged per partner per month, and that's a $210 fee per partner per month. Considering how freaking busy I wasn't able to get in contact with the CPA to pay my company's taxes until May. So that's 2 months late per partner. That is a $1,260 late fee. Luckily, there is something called a first-time penalty abatement, which I was able to get through both my state and through the federal government, through the IRS, where if you're late filing your taxes for your first year as a business, you can request to have those penalties removed. It's called the first-time penalty abatement. However, that was an hour-long phone call with both the state and with the IRS in order to do so, which was very stressful. So I think that about covers it. Have your game ready to be purchased, or kickstart very early in the year if it's not ready yet. Number 2 is, don't bite off more than you can chew, because everything has additional costs to it, whether you realize it at the beginning or not. And with the LLC being a pass-through entity, the profits being made by the business, then each individual partner having to pay taxes on their portion of the profits. This owning a business is very much a death by 1,000 cuts that you need to prep yourself for, because the money that we're losing it's not insignificant. It is something that will hurt your financial goals in the future. It will take certain things you want to happen in your life longer, albeit retirement, albeit vacations, albeit fun extra purchases. Owning a business is a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice of your time, of your patience, and of your money, and you need to be ready to make those sacrifices. And I know you're going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed before you kickstart and think, once I get the money, that's it. No, once you kickstart and once you get the money, you're about a third to a quarter of the way done with all the extra crap you have to do. And you need to be ready for that stress. Yeah, and then number 3, pay your taxes on time, so you don't have to deal with the heartache of having to beg the state and federal government to be kind. Because the first-time penalty abatements work in 99% of cases, but just there's always that fear of being in that 1% of times where they are not so willing. You might get an agent on a bad day, and I don't know what that's like. You will have to suffer. Just be ready for it if you want to kickstart something. That's about it. That's what I've been working on for the 2 months since we've seen each other. I've been moving states, I've been moving into this place, and I have been dealing with my business, which has been a lot more work than I initially imagined. But hopefully, a month or so, we should be receiving this. This is on a boat somewhere in the Atlantic right now. I think it's in a dock, possibly, and hopefully within a month or so we should be getting our units, and then we should be able to get these in your hands. And then hopefully we'll be able to sell the extra units that we get outside of the people who purchase the game through Kickstarter to hopefully make some of our money back. Hope you're well. Peace.